All right, what's up, guys? So, hope everyone's having a great day. Today, I'm going to be recording module 5. All right, what's up, guys? So, hope everyone's having a great day. Today, just checking the sound here. Looks good. Going to be recording module 5, part 2 of the SEO Hacks with Andrew course. It's going to be all about backlink building. This module is all about backlink building. So I'm going to be talking about backlink building and some proven strategies. Backlink building is really the reason why our digital marketing agency is so successful, and I'm able to lead the life that I live here in Medellin, Colombia. We've been able to build a digital marketing agency for drug and alcohol rehab centers in the United States, and it was on the foundation of backlink building. Backlink building is something that is not easy for everyone to do. Infinite Crowns, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. I'm going to be recording this for the course. It's a 7-module course on digital marketing, particularly search engine optimization for anybody that wants to get into the digital marketing space. For search engine optimization, you want to either improve on a website that you have for your business or for a client. If you want to get clients, if you're new to it, doesn't matter. This applies to everyone. Anybody can learn this stuff. I did not go to university. I had to learn this the hard way. After I was deported from the United States to Colombia 11 years ago, I knew some stuff about digital marketing and search engine optimization and building websites, but truly I learned online. I went online on YouTube, started taking free courses online, etc. I never paid for anything. That's why I'm creating this, to give it away, because I know that there may be someone out there that's wanting to get into search engine optimization and has looked at all these courses and it just doesn't make sense yet. And perhaps it could change someone's life like it did for me. So I learned all of this stuff for free. So that's why I'm creating these. I'm recording these, and then they're going to be edited and put on my website, andrewmacia.com. It's being built, where the whole course will be there with the modules, with the transcripts, because I write out everything that I say. That's why it takes a few days for me to create each video, because I have to write out and research what I'm going to say, because I'm going to be posting that content or that text on the website under the video that you watch in the module, so that if you're taking notes, you don't miss anything. You can follow along with the text as well. So I'm going to start recording. Let's get started. Module 5, Part 1, Intro. Sorry, this is not Part 1, this is Part 2. I changed that. Why does it say? Module 5, Part 2, Backlink Building. Welcome to SEO Hacks with Andrew. I'm Andrew Macia. This is Part 2 of Module 5, Backlink Building Strategies. Today, I'm going to go over how to create high-quality backlinks through a couple of proven strategies. Before we get started, let's go over what we've learned thus far in this course. In Module 1, we went over an intro to SEO. We also talked about keyword research and advanced keyword research. In Module 2, we went over on-page SEO, technical SEO, and an SEO audit. In Module 3, we talked about content marketing. We had an intro to content marketing, and then we talked about advanced strategies for content marketing. In Module 4, the module before this one, we talked about the 10 steps to creating content. We talked about editing content for search engine optimization purposes, and then talked about 10x content. In this module, we're talking about backlink building. In the previous lesson, we had an intro to backlink building. Today, we're going to be talking about some proven strategies for backlink building that are going to improve your keyword rankings and get you traffic to your website. So let's get started. In an interview on levelingup.com, Brian Dean, one of the gurus and one of the experts in backlink building, explained one of his rules of thumb. He said, you should spend 20% of your time writing and creating the content and 80% of your time promoting it. So on average, 2 hours of writing means 8 hours of promotion. But for a more competitive keyword, the promotion time can be even longer. Once I learned this, I changed my strategy. Instead of creating content to have new stuff on a website, just to put it up and to be competing with all of those big guys that pump out content every day, I started to create content with a purpose for our clients. It's not only to meet keyword search intent, but also to be promoted through various strategies. What does this mean? It means that you should have various backlink building strategies ready to go once your content is published. And when you're creating content, you should have these in the back of your mind, or maybe on the forefront as well. Sometimes you're going to be creating content that is solely going to serve the purpose of reaching out to other websites and saying, hey, I've got this great piece of content. You have something similar. Do you mind linking to it? Or what can we do to get you to link to it? Does it make sense? I love your content. I really liked how you wrote this. Take a look at mine. Give me some feedback. Sometimes you don't even ask for the backlink. You just ask for feedbacks from your peer. Sometimes you just ask for feedback from your peers. Here's a quick disclaimer though. Backlink building takes time. It takes time to master. You have to do it repeatedly until you start seeing results. It doesn't happen overnight. Backlink building strategies that work. Number 1, competitor link building. So what I want you to do is go to your favorite site explorer tool like SEMrush, Ubersuggest, ShineRanker, Moz.com. I use Ahrefs and type in your competitor's domain name and click on referring domains. Let me show you on mine, on my side here. So here I'm at Google. I'm going to go ahrefs.com. I'm going to sign in. And I'm going to type in a competitor's URL. In the addiction recovery space, one of the big guys, if not the biggest competition out there is AmericanAddictionCenters.org. They basically rule that space pretty much. They get millions of visitors to their website, or I should say their conglomerate of websites. They have a lot of websites out there, and they have each center that they have in a certain city, they have a website for it individually. So they get millions of people coming to their website per month for drug and alcohol rehab. So for competitor backlink building, what you want to do is you want to type in the competitor's URL here and then go to referring domains here real quick. They have more than 24,000 referring domains, meaning that more than 24 individual URLs, not repeated, just individual and unique URLs, link to their website. But notice that they give you options here. A historical measure, the recent ones, which some may not be live. So what I do is I click on live. I just want to see what's live on their website. So it comes down to 21,189 websites. Still, that's a lot. That's a ton. So what you want to do is you want to take a look at and organize by domain rating. I want to see their highest domain rated backlinks. And if you don't know what domain rating is and you haven't seen the previous modules, you definitely want to go back to module 1 where I start explaining what all of these are. But domain rating, real quick, is a measurement that Ahrefs gives each domain based on their backlink profile. So github.com has a 96 domain rating, and it links to American Addiction Centers, where I click on this little arrow here, and it'll tell me exactly where that is. They wrote a blog post, it looks like. Yesterday I learned .biology.md at So if I really wanted to look at this, I can click here. And this is on github.com. Contributor. I see. This is almost like a comment. It looks like spam, to be honest with you. So even though it's on github.com and Google is getting smarter, it does look pretty spammy. Look at all this stuff. A beaver's ass smells like vanilla. What is this? Do I really want my websites, even though it's a 96 rating and it is GitHub? GitHub is a huge website for digital marketing. Do I really want my link on something like this? Not really. I don't want to emulate what they're doing. This looks pretty spammy. So I'm just going to continue down the list. Okay, so they're on wikipedia.org. Anybody can be on wikipedia.org if you edit it in. So I'm going to see how they did it. Cannabis. They're on the cannabis page. So if I wanted to, I can probably create a user, log in, and edit some more information about cannabis and link to my own website or one of my clients' websites. And we have done that before. Or we create unique images like this. Like this is a pretty unique image, but I bet you that if you have any inclination for art and you know how to do an infographic, you could probably make something that looks more appealing and maybe even more informational that you can maybe link to here or insert here without it getting removed, because sometimes things do get removed if you're just trying to spam Wikipedia. It has to be informational. So that gives you ideas to copy from your competitors, especially when a competitor is so big like this. So I keep going down the list, and what I do is instead of going through this list like this, what I do is I like to extract this into Excel, but I don't extract this view. What I do is I go back to the overview. I go back to, instead of clicking on referring domains gives you a quick overview, and you can actually dive a little deeper. If you have an assistant that can help you do this, that's where those assistants come into place. But I go into the total backlinks. So out of 21,000 plus referring domains, they have a total of 572,000 backlinks, because some of those websites link more than once. As you saw, Wikipedia linked back 40 times across their website. So somebody built those links back there. So I'm going to take a look at all of their backlinks. I'm going to hit live. I'm going to click group similar, because this is not by default. You have to make sure that it says group similar and that you're getting one link per domain. And that should condense the view here. So it's loading here. Once that's done, you could export it. It's going to condense. Yeah, so group similar links. Okay. Okay, there we go. So it's instead of 200,000 plus, it's 65,000 plus now. So still, that's a lot. You can export these or the majority of these into an Excel spreadsheet. What I like to do is I like to take a look at, so for example, I know the space. I know Very Well Minded is a blog, a medical type blog. So what I want to do is I want to see where they linked this OxyContin page that American Addiction Centers has, which is right here. And if I want to see exactly where that link is, all I got to do is just copy this. This is where that link is. Go Control F. And I don't see it exactly. Maybe it's because it hasn't loaded completely. But if Very Well Minded is linking to them, let me see if I can actually find that link. Don't need this open. Okay, so I definitely don't need that open. Withdrawal. Okay, so it's this link. Sorry. American Addiction Centers. It should say American Addiction Centers. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe it was removed or maybe not. But either way, I could even go and look at the source code. View source. and check and go Control F, and it is here somewhere. That link is here. So again, let me see. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, National Institutes of Health. Okay, so it's got to be near that. Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming up here, but it's in here somewhere. If I keep looking for it, I may find it. Very well-minded, nicotine. It's the Oxycontin stuff that they're talking about. So the point is, once you find it, what you want to do is you want to reach out. The person that wrote this is Buddy T. And I bet you I could probably find his contact info here. Well, here's his Facebook and his Twitter. So what I would do is not only would I reach out to Buddy T and say, hey, buddy, you wrote this article, What is Withdrawal? And you linked to American Addiction Centers, and you linked to this page. Whoops, sorry. This is their very well-minded. You linked to this page. Let it load here. Oxycontin withdrawal symptoms, timeline, and treatment. I think it's really great what you wrote, but they missed some information about, let me see where well, let's say he linked over here under Oxycontin. Oxycontin, the severity of blah, blah, blah. Oh, here's the link. It's the source. But I would say you missed something and they didn't write about it. Check out my page on Oxycontin withdrawal symptoms or opioid withdrawal symptoms that you didn't mention that could save someone's life. It has to be very appealing. First of all, Mr. Buddy may not reply. So you also want to contact the editor and say, hey, I noticed that something was written here, but you're missing something that could maybe save someone's life or be life-changing, etc. It has to be compelling for them to want to put your link on a very highly rated website, very authoritative. They only link to very authoritative sites, so they want to make sure that when they're linking to something that on your page, you know what you're talking about. The person that wrote it is qualified, and it's shown just like they show. Notice that they show this Buddy's bio, highlights, experience, education. So this is what your website should look like if you're writing about anything of authority and you're reaching out to your competitors' backlinks saying, hey, you linked to this page. I have something better. Why is it better? Because one, we're qualified. Here's the person that wrote it. It'll show it on your page just like they have. Second, it's missing some information. Here's that extra information. So that's how we steal. You could say stealing. I mean, that's a crude way of saying, but that's how we steal backlinks. And we let a company like American Addiction Centers spend all of their digital marketing budget on finding these backlinks. And if my client, who's a smaller drug and alcohol rehab center in the United States, can even just get a slice of the pie that they're getting, we're winning huge, because they're making multi-millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. If my client can make 2 to 3 to 5 million a year, that means that I'm probably making close to $1 million a year just off that client. So that's the importance of taking a look at your competition's backlinks and then reaching out to those people that have linked to your competition. Let's look at another example. For example, drugs.com linked to on their cocaine page, linked to this page, this American Addiction Centers page. So here's that drugs.com, and they linked to MAT treatment, medically assisted medication assisted treatment. That's funny that they say, oh no, medication assisted treatment there. Okay. So they have this page on medication assisted treatment, which is pretty comprehensive, I would say. But I don't see any video from an expert. I don't see any images of an expert. I just see that, for example, Stacy Mosel, who is an LMSW, a substance abuse specialist, psychotherapist, and licensed social worker, wrote this piece. Is she the most qualified to write this? Probably not. A doctor, maybe, because it's medication assisted. Regardless, her credentials are very good, and she wrote a great piece. So great that drugs.com mentioned where they got information from this page. Where is it? Let's take a look. It's in rehabilitation treatment. Okay, so this is the actual text. It might be a naked URL. Let's see. Oops. Control F. I don't see it there. So let's go to the source code. Again, just like I did before. View page source, Control F, American Addiction Centers. Okay, so it looks like it is in the sources. Okay, so it's all the way at the bottom. It's got to be. Yep, so it's got to be here. There it is. American Addiction Centers, addiction medications. So they list them as a source. So again, I would reach out to this person and say, hey, you wrote this piece and you listed American Addiction Centers as a source. I'd be interested to ask them what part of the article did they get their information from, or did you use any of the American Addiction Centers information from? I'm a big fan. I'm looking to write just like yourself. And you start creating that relationship. What people hate is to get spam in their mailbox or on their LinkedIn, their Twitter, or their Facebook. Especially these writers. They probably get it a lot from people like you and me that do search engine optimization. They don't want to be hit up about, hey, I'm writing this article. Would you mind mentioning me on your article? They don't want that. The best way to get a backlink is to create a relationship. So you could even just go as far as giving this person a compliment. This person here, whoever wrote this. Well, first of all, there is no person, so I would just contact drugs.com. I'm sure their contact information's down here somewhere. Probably in the About Us. There it is. Contact us and say, hey, I really like this piece that you wrote. I'm a medical writer, and specifically in the drug and alcohol rehab field. And I'm looking to increase my portfolio and learn more. I really love this. Could you put me in contact with the person that wrote this article? I have a few questions for an article that I'm writing. I would really appreciate it. And then they would write back, yes or no, we don't have that contact. Or, by the way, are you looking for anybody to write for your website, etc.? That's how you start creating backlinks. Backlinks, yes, you can be very upfront and say, hey, can I get a backlink because you linked here? But this was on the source. It wasn't an inline or a what you would call a contextual backlink. It was almost like a citation, right? It's like they're citing their source down here. So for me to win them over and get me a backlink on this page to my client's cocaine information page is going to be very hard because this was already written. The writer used it as a source of information. So it's going to be harder. So the way to crack them is by creating a relationship with the editor or with the writer themselves. So that's how we steal backlinks from people, multi-million-dollar companies that are doing the outreach already. They're creating the backlinks. They're writing great content. They're creating these backlinks by either reaching out to really great websites like these two that I just showed, Very Well Minded and drugs.com, and saying, hey, we've got this piece. It may fit with you, and then they've done it, and I can see where it's at, and I can then contact and say, hey, Very Well Minded, you link to American Addiction Centers. Let's figure out a way to link to me. Without saying those words, you have to be creative. Remember, everything is sales from the beginning, and people don't like to be sold. So you begin with starting a relationship through that email, maybe paying them a compliment on their content, and then asking for the backlink or asking them to write a blog post, asking them if you could write a blog post on their website or be a contributor, which brings me to number 2. Number 2 is guest blog posting. Guest blog posting is an amazing way to get backlinks. Let me go back to this view. All right, so we went over stealing backlinks from competition by taking a look at where their backlinks are at and then contacting those people. And you could do that using any of those SEO site audit tools or domain audit or site explorer tools. I use Ahrefs. There's SEMrush, ShineRanker, Ubersuggest, Moz.com. There are probably hundreds out there, but those are the top ones. I may be missing one or two, but if any of the ones that you use where you can see a website's backlink profile, you can use, because you can see where their backlinks at and then go and reach out to those pages that are linking to your competitors. And for me, that's been the best way, one of the best ways to get backlinks for my clients. Again, I mentioned this in the beginning of the course. I am not a creator of strategies. I'm one to copy a strategy and make it my own. Yes, I'm going to create my own templates. For example, when I reach out to someone, we have a template that we use when we do outreach, and there's a response template as well. And when we send a blog post, we have a certain style that we write with, that our writers know how to write with our tone and mentioning keywords, making sure that we're mentioning internal links in their websites, etc. when we submit an article, making it look very good so that when their editor gets it, they don't have to come back to us and say, this needs to be edited because you're missing this, that, and the other. We've been doing it long enough where we have our own templates and we're able to expedite the backlink building process. But I didn't create this. I learned it from Brian Dean, Neil Patel, Rand Fishkin from Moz.com. All of these gurus have free courses out there that I learned from. I started learning 10 years ago and now have honed my skills, and I've created my own course now with what I've learned. I'm basically regurgitating information that I've learned and I've applied and have, I wouldn't say mastered completely because there's still room to grow, but we have a very good business and it involves creating backlinks for clients in a pretty competitive niche, which is the drug and alcohol rehab niche. So let's talk about guest blog posting. One of the best ways to get a backlink is to write for someone for their website, for their blog. That's what guest blog posting is. Guest blog posting is a tried and proven backlink building strategy. Any course that you take on backlink building will mention guest blog posting. So how do you find guest blog post opportunities? Well, number one, you could do it how I just showed you, by researching your competition and seeing where they're mentioned on other blogs, or where maybe one of their authors are mentioned on other people's blogs or websites, right? I just showed you how to do the competition analysis, their backlink profile, and doing the outreach there. But one of the best ways to get blog post opportunities or contributor opportunities or guest author opportunities is by going to Google. Let me show you that here. And using the search operators. And I have this spreadsheet here, or it's not a sheet, this document with all of the search operators, more than 100, about 100 search operators that you can input into Google. And they're basically advanced search operators. So you type in your keyword, for example, alcoholism. And then I'm telling Google that please bring me results for any website on the internet that has the word alcoholism, plus In the title, that's what this all in title colon means. Only in the title, I want it to have these words. It doesn't matter how they're arranged, but it has to say guest post guidelines. Because if a website or a blog has a page that gives you their guest blog post guidelines, that means that they accept guest blog posts from anonymous people or from people from the internet, right? So let's check. Alcoholism. Here we go. Right for the craft. So pravi.com. This website here. Here are the guidelines. Guest posting guidelines. Do you have an original idea or story you'd like to pitch us? If so, we'd like to hear about it. Please review our guidelines before submitting, and thank you for your interest. Cheers. About the craft. We accept topics on, let me see, beverage industry. So this is a beverage selling company. They Pravi.com looks like a wine type of company. So it may not be the best website for a anti-drinking or alcoholism recovery blog to be mentioned on, but let me just look. Control F, alcoholism. Oh, they don't mention alcoholism at all. So we accept topics on industry, restaurant management, marketing, guides, how-to, profitability, sales. So yeah, again, this may be a great website to be featured on as a guest post artist, but as a guest blog post author, and having one of my writers or myself write a blog post about alcoholism. They may not accept that though. So what I would do is, first of all, see if they have anything written on alcoholism. So I'm going to, the way that you do that is by, I'll do this here so you could see it better. In Google, I put in their website URL, I put a space, and then I type in alcoholism. Alcoholism is going to, Google is going to search the entire website for any mention of the word alcoholism. Oh, sorry, I just did this wrong. So in Google, let me go back. You don't want to put the whole HTTPS. You just want to put their domain, which is pravi.com, and then alcoholism. Otherwise, Google is going to search their website, or their website's going to do the search for you. You want Google to do the search. So, okay, so here it's giving me results that are missing the word alcoholism. I'm going to force Google to give me search results that must include alcoholism. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait, but pravi.com in site. So here's another, what we call Google search operators. So another Google search operator, to make this simple for me, is I put the word site, colon, and then the URL, pravi.com, and then I put in quotation marks the word alcoholism. This is telling Google that only on the website pravi.com show me any mention of the word alcoholism in there. And they have one. The hype of non-alcoholic and wine spirits. Okay, so they do have something about non-alcoholic stuff. So here, what I could do, I mean, this is a stretch. Let me see. Recovering. No. Alcohol. So, non-alcoholic booze, beverages. So I would look, and this is my analytical mind and knowing how to do this for so many years, is, and here's a tip for you. If you come across a situation like this where it may not make sense or doesn't make sense for me to link to it, if it doesn't right away, just move on. Go to the next opportunity, down the list of these, of the people that do accept guest blog posts. I just go to the next one. Obviously, I make a spreadsheet. This is how I started. It's a very manual process. I would make a spreadsheet, put the person's email address, and then write a note. Initial email sent. and maybe even added notes. But for something like this, where they do have something written on non-alcoholic beverages, but I don't see them mentioning the need for, they say that there's a trend at the very beginning, but there is no need. I don't see, let's dive into the, zero. So what I would say is I would reach out to them and say, hey, you wrote this piece on non-alcoholic beverages. My name is Andrew, and I represent so-and-so's drug and alcohol rehab center. I'm looking to write about non-alcoholic drinks for recovering addicts. Is it possible for me to write a piece on that on Pravi.com or expand on this already written piece and add a section about the need for non-alcoholic spirits for those in recovery? Because alcoholism, and then in my email, I would tell them, alcoholism is on the rise. There's been more death rates. Alcoholism also comes along with co-occurring disorders like depression, mood swings, bipolar, PTSD, etc. And we are in Mental Health Month. Last month was Mental Health Awareness Month. Today is we're in June, which is LGBTQ plus Awareness Month. But if you could tie any of that in, it makes your email way more compelling and stand out from the probably tens to maybe even hundreds of spam emails that they get from backlink builders like us. And it makes it stand out and make it unique. And it gives you a personality because they understand that you're a pro. You're someone that read their content and saw something missing, a gap in their content, and saying, hey, let me fill this gap for you. And I'm not even telling them I want to add a backlink. I want to add content. There's two reasons for that. One is because I don't want them to shy away from the opportunity of me writing for them. And if they at any point say, no, you can't put it on, I could say, it's okay. My name is Andrew Macia. This is my writer's bio. If you ever need more content, let me know, because eventually they'll either call back and then accept the backlink, or they'll just forget about it. But at least you can use this as ammunition for your next client. You could say, hey, I didn't get a backlink here, but I do have an author profile on Pravi.com, and they are let's check their domain rating. I'm going to check their domain rating here. So it's always a win to get published. It's even if you don't get that backlink. Look at that. They're a domain rating of a 40, which is pretty high. They get multiply this by 2 or 3. That's more accurate for their organic traffic. So they're probably getting close to 20,000 visitors a month. So if you get featured on here and your name is there, or one of your writers' names are there, you could go to your next client and say, yeah, we also have author profiles on these pages. That's what I do. Whenever I get a new client, I say, well, we already have author profiles on the fix.com, on the mighty.com, etc., which are all mental health and addiction magazines. So this is how you find backlink building opportunities using these Google search operators. Let's look at another one, for example. And you can I have the link to this list available for you below. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's the recorded version. Then you want to go to the link below to my website where this course lives and go to the module, and you'll have the link to this list of guest post Google search operators. Let's take a look at this one here. This one says keyword plus in title write for us. Instead of guest blog post guidelines, let's go alcoholism again. Whoops, the plus there. Okay, there we go. Write for us. ASBDC-US.org. You must have been directly affected by drug or alcohol addiction yourself. We're not looking for rewritten content. Instead, we only accept. Okay, so this is very, very good because it's super niche. It's by addicts for addicts. So before I even write to them or write any content, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check what they look like here. Is it even worth it for me to get a backlink for them on their website? Absolutely. I can already tell. Wait, this seems weird to me. How is their domain rating a 61, yet they've only got 31 people visiting them? Let me see. Rehab. A lot of rehab information. So again, I may stand off from reaching out to them because it seems really weird. Their domain rating is super high. Let me see. Remember how to do a site audit? We went over this in a previous module. You kind of want to do this for the backlink building opportunities that you find. So these guys have never really had much organic traffic ever, and they've been around for a long time. Well, it looks like they may have shut down in 2018, and then they were built again in 2019. So it seems really fishy to me, these kind of websites. And you can see how that they're a pretty impersonal website. I don't see anybody's face. Let me see. Do they have in their articles? They do have some writers, but it may just be kind of a website built for backlinks. Yeah, there's no bio for Barry here. That's what he wrote, but it's not giving me a bio. Is there a bio here? Barry Aldridge. South Wales. Yeah, so again, you want to investigate your backlink building opportunities and make sure that they're legit and they are niche specific, or at least in line with your niche. So yeah, that's as easy as it gets. Now let's talk about automating this process because it's a very manual process. So as soon as I started making money, I hired somebody in the Philippines to do this for me and organize this for me and help me send the emails out. And the way that I was sending the emails out was through Gmail. You could only send about 500 a day per Gmail account. So we'd make Gmail accounts, a bunch of Gmail accounts, and send out about 1,000 a day, from a list that we create by using these Google search operators. And we'd get replies. It's a very minimal amount of replies, first of all. This is why backlink building takes so long. And it also depends on your script, what script you're using, and how personal each email you're making is. So you can use, for example, mail merge on WordPress, merging it with a Google spreadsheet so that it fills out the person's name on the spreadsheet, their website's URL on your template, and then you copy paste into Google. But you want to start automating. And one of the best ways to start automating is to hire someone. I hired my first employee in the Philippines, Evie. She still works for us after 9 years. She's my longest standing employee. And she helped me automate this process by helping me do some of that manual work herself. And then I got into purchasing software. So you could do this way when you get started. If you're on a small budget or a shoestring budget or on a zero budget where you're doing this yourself. A client hired you and they say, hey, let's go get backlinks, and you're doing it manually. And maybe your client's website or your own website isn't in a very highly competitive area or market or niche or industry, and you can create 10 backlinks a month and see some traction, then you can do it manually. You can't, but if you're in a very highly competitive market and you need a ton of backlinks that are high quality, then you're going to have to invest in software. My favorite software thus far has been Scrapebox. Scrapebox.com is right here. And let's see how much it costs now. I bought it a long time ago, and it's like a lifetime thing, and it's super cheap. Let me see. Pricing. Get started. Oh, here we go. Dude, it's $97. $97, and you get this software. And this software, as you can see, It does the same thing that I was just doing on Google. You put in a keyword, for example, like alcoholism and guest post, or you could be even more direct, recovering from alcohol addiction. And it'll scrape, that's why it's called Scrapebox. It'll scrape the internet and give you a giant list of websites. That's why it's better to have a very specific, longer keyword, because it'll give you a giant list of websites where that keyword is mentioned. And then once you have that giant list, the software will scrape each URL for an email address and create a spreadsheet for you of thousands of email addresses from websites that talked about recovering from alcoholism and co-occurring disorders, or something very specific, or write for us, write for our blog, alcoholism, or whatever it is. But then you have this giant list, and then you can have a person like Evie in the Philippines, or someone here in Colombia, or even in the United States, do some data entry and start vetting each URL across the parameters that we did our website audits with, right? In a previous module, we went over site audits for SEO, where we were doing it for ourselves, but now we want to do it for backlink opportunities. We want to audit their website and see what their domain rating is, how much traffic they're getting, what kind of backlinks do they have on their website, and what kind of content do they have on their website? Do they have verified authors, etc.? Is it worth for me to reach out and say, hey, let me write for you? Or, hey, you wrote a piece, how can I get my backlink on there? Is it worth it? Is this a website that I want to have my client or my website's link on? So Scrapebox is huge for that. So the next question that a client has, because I divulge this to a client, and and that's what sales is for me, is I give all of my expertise, and more so, I over deliver. I tell them, look, this is how we do it. You can go fucking buy this if you want and start scraping the internet. But guess what? You're going to have a team about 5 to 10 people to keep up with all of the emails that you're going to be receiving, all of the spam, cleaning out the email addresses, scraping the internet. Oh, by the way, you have to have probably a separate machine or a server where this software lives, because you don't want it taking up a local server's CPU or memory, etc. So, and this runs every day. I have it running right there. So I tell them, this is how we do it, and this is how we get the results. And the next question that a client usually has is like, well, how do you send so many emails? Because Gmail only allows you to send 500. Do you have like 500 Gmail accounts? The answer is no. We use another tool called SendBlaster. SendBlaster is also under $100. It's a piece of software that you can own for life, under $100. They say they have a free download, but I know it's under $100. Maybe they've upped the price, but it can't be more than $100. Buy SendBlaster Pro. Here it is. Sorry, totally missed it. Why don't they tell me the price? Here it is. Okay, so they did up the price. It's $130, maybe a little bit more with the extensions downloads. $138 for lifetime SendBlaster Pro. And what this allows you to do is to send bulk emails out. That is huge. If you can send out thousands of emails, granted that you do have to buy SMTP servers. If you could send out bulk emails, and yes, you're spamming, but you want that spam email, because that's essentially what it is for backlink building. If you want backlink building on overdrive, you've got to remember, okay, I don't want to be spam. Yes, it's spam. It's an unsolicited email to someone for an opportunity for them to do you a favor by putting your link or your content on their website. So you want to make it as easy as can be to get your foot in the door. So you don't want to go right away saying, hey, I'm building backlinks. How much do I have to pay you? First of all, you don't want to pay for backlinks, and you don't want to offer to pay for a backlink. Again, what we do is we form a relationship with that website. So when we send when we blast out emails, we have categories where it's like, okay, this is a personal blog from personal people, so the template's different. Okay, this is a bigger company's website where they don't have a blog, but they have articles with a lot of information, and it's a medical site. Here's the template for that. So that's how we've categorized how we do outreach and how we start creating a relationship with the editor or the owner of the website, the writers, etc. So that's how we turn backlink building on our outreach on overdrive. All right, so let me go back here. So we went over 2 proven strategies. One is stealing backlinks from your competition. And number 2, guest blog post opportunities, doing it manually, and then turning it on overdrive by using software like Scrapebox and SendBlaster. There are other softwares out there. All you got to do is look up SEO web scrapers, outreach scrapers, outreach email software, etc. You'll find a bunch like Mailshake, BuzzSumo. There's a few out there that people use. So after 8 years of doing this, I started doing this, and SendBlaster and Scrapebox have been around for more than 8 years. That's how I started to build a bigger business, by automating backlink building. And this is still my method to this day, and it makes us tens of thousands of dollars per month doing this for clients. The point is that no matter what your budget looks like right now, you can build backlinks and you can get organic traffic to your website. It's just going to take dedication. How long should you do outreach? Forever. If you're going to be doing search engine optimization, you can never stop doing outreach, because there's billions of websites out there, and anybody that puts your link on their website that is within reason, right, within your industry, talking about your product or service, or talking to your buyer persona. That's another great way to do guest blog post outreach, is by understanding your buyer persona. If you're selling pet stuff, what does your ideal buyer read? Are there famous magazines or blogs? Are there shows on TV that also have websites that have a blog where maybe you can reach out to them to write for? So knowing your buyer persona is huge. We went over that in a previous module, but not just thinking as your client and the service that you're selling, but also thinking as if you were that buyer persona. What would you be seeing every single day? What websites would make sense for you to put your link on? So you're going to get very few replies as you do outreach. It's the nature of the game. But if you do outreach for 3 to 6 months, you're going to start building backlinks, and you're going to start seeing some sort of traction on Google Analytics. So let's talk about your homework for this module. Number one, I want you to analyze your competition's backlinks. See where you can reach out and start organizing and creating lists of backlink opportunities. Again, you want to include the domain rating for each URL where your competition is mentioned at. And you want to keep track of who you're reaching out to. You know, the name of the contact, the email, and then a note. What was said? What did they reply? How did you counter? Etc. You want to have all of this documented. Trust me, because once you hire that first person to help you with this stuff, you want to be able to show them what you've done and have a track record. If everything's up here, that won't work. That you can't grow like that. You have to write things down. You have to keep track of things. So I want you to analyze your competition's backlink profile and look for opportunities for outreach there and start. The best way to get started is by getting started. A lot of people overanalyze, but really what you need to do is just find a website and reach out to them and get over that fear, because sometimes fear does block us, even when it comes to something as impersonal as an outreach email for a guest blog post opportunity, or for inserting my link in a website that maybe doesn't have the information that I have. And then number 2, I want you to start using those Google search operators, even if your budget is big and you can afford software like Scrapebox, SendBlast, BuzzSumo, Mailshake, etc. for outreach. I want you to play around with those Google search operators and start building a list of guest blog post opportunities and start your guest blog post outreach immediately. And for me, my aim when I first started and I was doing it manually myself was 500 a day, because you could send batches of 50 emails with the blind carbon copy in Gmail at once. And the max amount for one Gmail account is 500 per day. So you could send out 500 per day. You just have to batch them out in 50 emails. So that's how I got started. Again, when I do something, I do it 100% or I just don't do it at all. So I suggest that you try and get as many emails out to potential guest blog post opportunities. So thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me. It's free for you to do. And also check the description and go to the link to my website where you could see this full course, and it's free for you. I hope that this really helps you turn your life around for the better. I hope that this helps you make a ton of money. I hope that it changes your life like it changed mine. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Okay, so that was 53 minutes. Went a little over, but that's good. All right, so I'm going to finish this broadcast. Thank you guys for watching this live taping of SEO Hacks with Andrew. I'm almost done with it. This is module 5. It's 7 modules, and it's going to be free. So you want to make sure that you join the newsletter in the link below so that you get this for free. Eventually, I may monetize it and sell it, but honestly, right now, my purpose, it's so great when you know your purpose. My purpose is to educate and give this for free. Why? Because I know that if I give more, eventually I'm going to receive. It always works that way. The more that I give, the more I receive. And I don't care when I receive that, because my life is great. I just want to be able to help somebody else like someone helped me in the past when I needed the help. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, any of